Hello and welcome. First ever recording of a video game for a YouTube video. My name's Brandon. My tags are usually 7Giratin or 7Giratinas. Not sure how to pronounce it. Never ever actually heard the Pokemon's name. Leave it at that. Thought today I'd record a task that I've been looking forward to doing, where I'll be creating a Hypertube all the way around the map. I've done something similar before. Don't ask for recording, I didn't record it. And I want to see how long it takes. And then see how long it takes to travel through the pipe. I was fidgeting around with the photo mode and zoom features. Oops, just took a picture. Pretty funny, but it also skews the perspective. Left a few things that I need to do. I need to gather some of the resources. And so here will be a mini tour of my map. Not like anyone cares to see the entirety of this mess that I've made. I'll take you through some of the middle tier or second tier resources while I look for the parts needed. Because like all games, you come back to it at a later date. Looking for the pipes in particular right now. I know there's a storage spot here somewhere. Is it one of these two? Nope. Easy thing is just take it from wherever you're feeding it into. So a lot of what I want to talk about to fill the time, if I'm talking at all. Hopefully I can keep up the conversation level, but if not, forgive me. We're all human. Try our best to be entertaining or to be entertained. What's some of the things I want to talk about? Some LGBTQ related topics. Some life goals, some self-progressive thoughts and actions. Yep, my pipes are definitely run thin. I think this is going to be the alternative, the tier 3 plates. Yep. Gonna have to make a few trips while those restore, rebuild, remake. Steal them again from here. Doubt this will get me very far around the map, but that's okay. I don't expect this to be all done in a single video. Don't you just love that autosave? To make sure I get a handful of extra iron plates. Created all this extra space down here, but I didn't utilize all of it, so I thought I'd use it later for some of my copper sheet collection. And I thought it was amusing. Usually I go vertically for stacking these storage bins, but I decided I would go with horizontal, horizontal this time. Because there's not much verticality in here. You can see that it was filling up into the second container there. My world's not complete, as you can tell. I was saving the latest expansion content to do later, when I had the time or was in the mood for the struggle it is to create 4,000 of a resource, apparently. And as you can see, everything's a hodgepodge of things going every which way. A lot like a Factorio. Also a really fun game that you can spend countless hours in. I'll just wait for this to restock. Apparently I'm making it somewhere else. So this is where I should have been sitting waiting for pipes. Everyone said this before, wish you could destroy those poison exuders, then I could use that space. But it's not the end of the world, same for over there. See that there's a lot of idle production around, which is amazing. Keep the power costs low. Might as well get as much of tubing and foundation material so I can make a good while through before having to restock. I'll leave it at that for pipes so I can save some room for iron plates. This is where most of my base started. You can tell tier 2 comes right off of tier 1, right here. Also, to inaugurate a video, I thought I'd show a couple of my nice nuances to getting around and traveling. Built everything around the space elevator. They made a couple pipes to get up and out over things quickly. The best one being this minute-and-a-half long wait to travel up to my launch pads. None of those are running, you can tell. Coal burning is very inefficient. Sorry for the vertigo. I'm gonna save real quick because this is very powerful and everyone likes to abuse save scum quick saves. I use this one. I don't think it's very long. I use it to go primarily west. There's a few projects far over there that I got up and running with fluids. This one's the main one though. It looks about the same length, but it's safer to jump in a little bit in, because if I jump in all the way it shoots me way past the map and instant death. And I use this one just as a quick get around. Alright, I didn't jump in far enough back, but that'll be fine. I'll do a couple trips. I'll drop down here to where I was working on restoring plastic after the third update. Set down some refineries, but I was going to deal with those later. That's the whole point of the game, is get to it when you have the time. And then, yeah, this trick for fast traveling. Everyone loves it. I love the super speed. Used to be able to travel faster with tier 5 plates, the aluminum alaclad, whatever plates. But once you discover the Hypertube traveling, There's no going back. Still use the tier 5 plates to get around quickly in short distances. I have a ton of these pipes all over the place just to get back up to the launch site. Oh, that's right, that one launches me immediately in. Why not do another quick save? And just go for the full launch. Alright, I believe the power it's taking to run the pipes might be a little off. Oops, I'm way off course. So I sent a train rail all the way out here, just for the fun of it. Create a giant wall so I can splat, land comfortably at full speed. Should probably put some walls on the side, but as long as you hit it straight on, you lose all your momentum, which is good enough in the books. I think I just use this to launch over. There. Random train spot. I like putting things in weird places. Apparently on top of this slug. Also often disappointed with something that looks interesting to explore, and I bet once I get to there, there's nothing right there. Either that's the cave spot that leads to somewhere over there. But it was a simple cave with a few of the undiagnosable things. Alright, if I recall then this one is the super long one that will overlaunch. So we'll jump in. Yeah, that definitely felt like it hyperextended the character. Still gotta be a bit smart with gas to not run out mid-flight. Just a casual glide through the air. As you can see, I like to do silly little things way up in the air. I originally wanted to make a solid flat sheet of concrete encompassing the entire map. A massive platform that would probably consume all the resources of the game. The CPU. Decided against that when I realized it was probably a bad idea. Also wanted to do a tube NATO, and for the same reason was gonna hold off on that one. So I might as well get started on this little project of mine. Starting from the base that is hard to recognize within the mass of machinery and whatnot. Tiny little starting base. Originally started my tier 1 belt around the map over here, and I thought I'd do the same. Looks like I'll need to get power to it. Apologies on that front. That's one extra hindsight I failed to account for. Maybe that's something everyone's dealt with the aliens of this game. They're not that dangerous. More of a nuisance than anything. trying to create little tidbits and name metrics for myself. I never even use them. What a lovely start to this adventure. Not enough space, of course. And like anything in this game, nothing's glamorous. I intend to add a super start here, so I guess I can use, excuse me, use this space straight back from there to do it. Nothing glorious, nothing fancy. I will ignore that. It's not worth putting in my inventory. I have a bad presence of mind for keeping track of the time, so I might as well throw on a stopwatch and let's begin. Apologize if mouse sounds keep popping up, mouse and keyboard sounds. Maybe a little bit of habit of, what's the Tenno Ninjas, Space Ninjas? It'll come to me in a bit. Where you have to hold down shift to sprint. Then you push down quickly on control and then spacebar to get maximum speed. In this game it's pretty similar, although you are constantly auto sprinting. Still have to do something similar. Well, I just freed up space, so might as well pick it up. Thread the needle there. Or you have to quickly mash control and space. You could slide for a second, but I think you lose momentum. Yep, there's the presence of mind. Let's restart that timer. Add a few seconds on while I was dealing with that poison pain. But so yeah, quickly launch yourself through the air. To gain some momentum. Couple that on with being on tier 5 plates. Sweet, sweet momentum. I was gonna try and keep things lined up similar with how I did the belt. Tried to keep the belt chain at the outermost extremes of the map. You can see I could have gone a little bit further south onto that ledge down there, but I was also trying to maintain some of the logistics. You can't go too steep with some belts. Cut some corners here, but later down the line you may see where I actually go to extra effort. Like I could have traveled along into there, but I also like the idea of spanning a gap that seems unreasonably dangerous, highly unsafe. We'll probably switch between the skip jumping and casual placing. Trying to keep my thoughts in check. Also, that's the name of the game, is it not? Satisfactory. You gain satisfaction from different parts of the game, whether the nice visuals, I guess those are just specks and leaves in the air, discovering these ruins of your ship. Can't remember the lore. Or looking at the nature and hear an alien somewhere, but that alien doesn't come attack you, so... Oh no. Pretty game. Leave it at that. Of course I'm not gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna have to constantly gush about the game. It satisfies an itch we all have for factory building, anti-idle. Just how much time you have to sit down for one, I suppose. How much dedication you have. If something's quickly in my reach, I'll try to grab it. Always nice to have extra berries and resources on hand. And thank goodness for the jetpack. Not a significant point to check the progress, but might as well check anyways. Starts right there, so yeah, we're 1/1000th of the way through. Funny little bend, but it's only gonna affect us in the ride. And I suppose there was not much significance in that timer when I'm going to take the opportunity to, again, stop and gush about the game. Sucks that it's nighttime right now, but it's such a gorgeous game. I love seeing the aesthetic. Wish there was more to do beyond just the factory part and killing aliens. Of course, the game's still in development. Highly encourage anyone that's interested to get the game. It's always a fun experience. Also a distraction for life to get hooked on something. Major distraction from struggles of life. With moderation, of course. Do everything with moderation, keep everything within a healthy mindset of activity. Do apologize. Also, I feel like I'm in some tunnel vision mode to make sure I'm doing this efficiently and quickly without admiring the beauty of the landscape. Darn, wish that was a cave. Water physics is also quite something too. Ignore those textures. Didn't think that one through. Now I have to get back up there. I'm convinced that this is more gas efficient to get up though I doubt it's faster. But you mash spacebar to scale. I could have just gone across instead of up. That's probably a part of life everyone's experienced. How you approach challenges. There's always multiple ways to deal with something. You could look at it from the initial out point. You want to get to the start, move to the end. Sometimes you can start somewhere in the middle. Look back, find a progress point, an alternative, and that helps you progress. Life is about choices and challenges. Oh, I made that one a bit tall. Let that be, I guess, the first outlier to difference in the belt. Of course, you can see I've created concrete points, concrete foundation, and then removed them later. I also like to remove the foundation points for the belts at times so that excuse me, a bubble, so that you can have a seamless looking belt. Also apologize for any hiccups in my speaking. I'm trying to be open and fluid with conversation. Treating this video recording as a little self-social experiment, seeing how well I can engage in an activity of constant dialogue while keeping up an activity. Can tie that in again to always wanting to be entertained or to entertain. Reminds me of experience I had about a week ago where I've been out to bars and clubs before. Tried to make them a special occasion. Don't want to over stimulate or undervalue them at some point because I've experienced them so much that they all feel the same. So I refer to it as a once in a blue moon activity to enjoy myself, meet new people. Usually go in with the same mentality for anything. Don't plan to drink unless the moment feels right. As a social event and personal choice. Not to say I've not had drinks before. Just want to moderate what goes into my body. So with that, my most recent club experience, I decided to get a little brave, and I know it won't sound terribly amazing, but I decided to get up and sing one song for the karaoke bar, and that was a pretty fantastic feeling. Trying to be brave and experience new things, get up on stage. A little bit of stage fright. Same thing for here. I got to sing I Was Made for Loving You by Kiss. Kiss songs are hit and miss for everyone, but I think that is one of the better ones. This rock has a texture that is bouncing me off. One of those spots was below. Let's call that number 2 for discrepancies. Also, I started getting ticks of damage, so the reason why I've gone only to where you can see halfway in this map, that at one extreme of walkable terrain, you actually come across a damage threshold where you start rapidly taking ticks of damage. So I think I reached in just a little bit. Or else traveled at a semi-safe distance away from it. Treat it as a soft extreme for safe passable terrain. Well, what do you know? I ran out of pipes. Then I'll have to keep that in mind as a maximum threshold for resources needed. I won't need as many copper sheets as I will need likely some concrete and plates, because those will sneak up on you. That you'll need them for the foundation parts. And I probably overstocked on copper sheets. They consumed about the same rate. Probably won't need to grab too many more. I'll use this time of traveling back to pause the timer at 13 minutes and 37 seconds. I'll use this time of apparently traveling very far back on foot to continue any other thoughts I started. So everyone has their own strengths for things they are good at, what they want to experience in life. You usually stick with those strengths. Only once in a while reach out and try something new. Just trying to create a metric of that for myself. If I consider something a 10, I'll probably do that once in a blue moon. Not try to overexert myself. But still able to enjoy it. If something hits a 10 or 11, then it's likely an extreme. Probably won't pursue it. But that's also another part of life, trying to discover new things, opening up to them. Now that I'm on flat ground, I can at least speed up my movement. I've left a handful of these around. Little belt arrangements. Usually short, only character length 10 feet on the ground, but I thought I'd set up a long one to get me up and above this slight hill. Then coupled with tapping spacebar at the end of a slide jump. Launch off of a 5th tier platform. You can gain some good ground at the cost of some gas. Collected those already. Darn shame. I'll also have to pay attention to my gas consumption. Make sure I don't run out mid-trip and then have to do the painful walk back. I'll look for... I actually was right next to one of my launch points. I should have just used that. That would have gotten me back 10 times faster. I also apologize for... Let's take this tube up. Any inconsistency in my dialogue, being able to keep up a thought. We all call it the goldfish brain. I kind of treat that as a blessing in life. If you don't bog yourself down with thinking too much about something, then you can find some great peace and happiness in and simplicity in life. Not to say I'm not an individual that's not bogged down by woes of life. I'm also not going to say that I'm one of the most bogged down individuals. Everyone has things that affect them differently. Things that take up their mental cognitive load. Things that make it difficult for them to be happy because they are dealing with their struggles in life. To that I say, we all hate them. No one loves being bogged down by their life struggles. I hope for everyone that you can learn to adapt quickly, figure out your answers, even if those answers take weeks, months, years. I hope that everyone is able to find the answers that they need to get them through their life struggles. No one deserves to be unhappy. Everyone deserves love, to be appreciated, to be recognized. A bit of a challenge in there for recognition is being yourself while also being outgoing on the introversion-extroversion spectrum. It's definitely hard to keep up the extroversion when you are very reclusive, but everyone can live life in a way that pleases them. And so if you're full-on introvert, I'm right there with you. Maybe neither of us, if we ever spoke in real life, out in the world, if we'd ever meet and recognize each other, if we would even be in a position to be highly sociable. But take it to mind that you know you're not alone out there, that everyone has these struggles, that everyone has to face something difficult in their life. And my heart's out there for you. If I could, I'd, with a snap of my fingers, solve every person's problem. That's a thought I've had for a long time. I'd say easily since childhood. 10, maybe 12. Even before I knew Thanos as a character, I thought how simple it would be that with just one simple action, everyone's problems could be solved. And I associated that with a snap of the fingers. And it wouldn't be a hesitation. It would be an instant decision, even if there's one of those what if situations. An example being the age-old question: if you could get $4 million, but your greatest enemy would get $8 million, or the other choice you could take, you'd get $2 million, and your greatest enemy would only get $1 million. You take 50%, you would get 50% of your initial goal, your initial reward, your initial offering, while your greatest enemy would get less than you compared to the other where they were getting more than you by double. It's an interesting social question because everyone has different takes on it. If I remember correctly, the majority of people did choose the one where they got more than their greatest enemy. And to that I say, you're living a life where you have greatest enemies is pretty toxic on your mental well-being. And it might be an extreme to say greatest enemy. Some people might have somebody in their life like that that is someone they believe is the bane to their existence, that they wish ill will upon. And that's sad, but it's understandable. A recent experience in my life with a good friend just goes to show someone you might not have known for very long becomes a truly great friend if your interests align, if your bonds are generated from if only a few simple connections. I didn't realize this launched me up so high. Now I'm worried if we're gonna launch into oblivion. Apologize for that. I'm had a slight panic attack there for a moment. So if you live a life where you consider someone, many people, some corporation as your greatest enemy, then I can see your thinking behind that. I can sympathize. I just hope that you learn to love, learn to grow past that hatred, those feelings of anger or anguish. Tie that into just a loosely appreciation of life and understanding that everyone has struggles. I try to keep it in mind that one of my constant pervasive thoughts is I know I'm no better than any other person. I'm always impressed, astounded, in admiration of many individuals that have accomplished so much more than me. I'd like to be like them, be more like them, live like them, be happy and experience greater fun in life. I started that timer up again in case anyone was worried. That was that one slight hiccup. I paused after I put the first section down again. And so I'd like to be more progressive about my mental health and care and compassion for others. Reminds me of the 4 colors of personality: red, yellow, blue, and white. I always thought I was a white, which aligns with a handful of the characteristics that I've considered myself to be: the critical thinking, the smart, proactive, intelligent, thoughtful personality characteristics. But about a year ago I realized that of all things about ourselves, we change. We realize something we thought about ourselves before is very different than how we feel now. And so I align more with blue, with compassion and sadness and empathy. And I thought those emotions lined up together, but if I'm to be more accurate about the color representation of personalities, like the 8 or 16 letter combination, which I've done a test before, I don't fully understand it, so I'm going to leave it at that, it's a thought experiment and also a just a understanding of life and how you view yourself around others, or how you view yourself, view others. There's definitely a bit of understanding of others and wanting to build connection. You recognize or speak with somebody and they say that they have the exact same color personality as you, and that is high grounds for bonding and connecting. Everyone wants the camaraderie and companionship from... I'm going to pause the timer for a moment and continue on this so I don't lose track of my thoughts, and we can also admire some of the beauty. Space elevator, nice. I know I'm starting to ramble on these points. So companionship, I tie that to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There's also a Maslow's motivational pyramid. I view that as a combination of each other and also other variables, just for the intrinsic connection between the pyramids and the human psyche, that everyone needs and desires companionship and connection. Yeah, I see those fireflies. I'm trying to steer clear of them. I'm surprised. Actually, no, everything respawned at one of the updates, so at least that's a good thing for this game. Apologize, that's some more of my goldfish brain. If I were to surmise what I've been trying to put together to recollect my thoughts, I feel everyone deserves love. Everyone deserves an opportunity to be cared for, receive love from close friends, family. strangers in the sense that we as human beings are social animals. We desire connection, compassion, empathy. I was worried for a second there that machines were cutting out. My power should be fine. And I always hold on to these thoughts of wanting to be a people pleaser and also seek compassion and kindness from others. So I keep reinforcing my own thoughts about kindness and caring and well-being. And I always try to be a peacemaker, a do-gooder. And I wish goodwill for everyone to find what they need in life, to get opportunity, to grow, to experience new things. No one should be denied any of these basic human privileges. And so I try to be a peacekeeper and try to put my feet in other people's shoes to see what they're seeing and to experience life in a way that I can understand others and be accepting of anyone and everyone. We all have times in our lives where we can't keep up that mental drive. And so I'm no exception. I do the best I can when I can. Then we all have moments in our lives where we need to take a break, focus on ourselves a little, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe more inspiration on this topic will come later, but I think I'm reached a satisfying point of that. I thought I'd come up here and give you a micro tour of what the struggles this game gives you. I don't remember the exact numbers here. That looks to be about 30 smelters. I think just below. Nope, I did some ridiculous finagling where I worked away from home base, aimed backwards, and then turned it around. I think I was just trying to be silly about it. But this was a iron deposit spot that I suspected to be rich. Yep, pure, excellent. And I put Mark 3s. I didn't realize I had miners for that. Usually go for Mark 2s. That keeps things more manageable. Because you can tell that for every smelter or miner you put out, you have to put an equal number of belts that you have to merge back together. Excuse me. But it looks like it's moving at some point, so it's doing something somewhere. But also, things becoming idle is a okay thing, as long as you do the math, you do the preparation for it. Let's get back to this little project of mine. Can tell that I took no rhyme or reason for here. I could have probably traveled along this ridgeline here, but I also tried to keep it within reason. I tried to keep it semi-close to the beach line. but was probably one of the extraneous factors I worked with. Not too close, not too far. And I do remember going through here was a nightmare. There was a lot of aliens and fauna, and as you can tell, poison up the wazoo. Apologize there when I dipped under the water for anyone deeply afraid of the depths. I also apologize in advance for anyone with difficulties around great heights. For the most part, this little trip around the map should be on solid ground. But there are some cliff edges that, as you can imagine, seem treacherous and no. Ooh, I'm standing on flat ground. Awesome. No human should be in these places at all for risk of in fear of their own life. But I'll tie that into an admiration of others' character. It's always a treat to meet somebody that has done something incredible with their life, whether that's mountain climbing and rappelling, something highly adventurous, playing with fate for their own lives, seeking the thrill. I'd encourage anyone to experience it at some point in their life. It's part of what makes living living. Oops, sorry about that one again. Coming up on about an hour. I think it'll be a safe point to conclude a first video. I appreciate anyone that finds this video if they enjoyed it. I feel pretty good about it. I will try to continue this effort and see what I gain from it. Hopefully others find it entertaining and learn something or enjoy the content. I know it's not anything in particular fantastic what I'm doing here. It's just a passive activity I've always thought about doing. I think this is working much more fluidly compared to placing the belts because, as you can tell, I had to work with some extraneous factors, depths of the water and trying to find a height to keep it above, keep the belts above, or work with edges or move around poison fields, so having this constant platform to place on, it's been a godsend, I could say. Worries me there a little when I see the red there. I'm gonna stop the timer there. It's taken me 22 minutes and 32 seconds to get to this point. A little quick look at the map. I've traveled about a sixth, maybe an eighth of the distance. That's good in my books. Well, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.